It's his family, where all potential of having any good emotional scenes are completely wiped out because the author thinks we want to hear more about gender politics, politics in general, or any other crap involving Garble. To Professor Dubious' credit, unlike certain of his scholar colleagues, he did not scream like a little filly. In the matters, he had a rather stallion spell of terror. His manliness, unfortunately, was offset by the fact he ran like a complete sissy. Fine, he wasn't exactly in a position to take any criticism of his technique at that moment, as he was extremely busy trying to stay clearly one step ahead of a flying polychromatic ball of homicidal rage. Come back here, you coward! Aye! He didn't know exactly what had happened. Here's when Sparkle had arrived to trot up to the front entrance to greet her with some data he uncovered. Later taking a small herd of her friends on a tour of the facilities. Miss Sparkle had called out, greeting him by name. Rainbow Maid Pegasus with her had whipped her head about the gown, an expression of absolute astonishment on her face. The moment she clapped eyes on him, that expressive astonishment morphed into one of red-faced fury. The next thing he knew, he was running for his life, the mayor right behind him, screaming death threats with every breath. Professor Folklore dodged most of the stacks, desperately trying to evade Rainbow Dash. Thus far, he was lucky. Against the cursing, fuming Pegasus had been stymieing at maneuvering between the crowded footsteps. It was too angry to realize he could fly over them. Luck ran out when he finally took a wrong turn and found himself at a dead end. He turned and stood stock still, terror on his face, but determined to face his unrusty doom. He could almost see flames in the unrusty Pegasus's eyes. Rainbow Dash! No! Let him live! At the last second, the Pegasus was snagged by a lasso, jerking her to a halt. Two of the royal guard and at least two other mayors attacked her bodily and dragged her to the floor before she could reach and kill him. Even then, the feisty female thrashed at thought, trying to drag herself within close reach of the crimson scholar. She only ceased struggling when one of her friends, a white unicorn mare with a purple mane, magically upended a water cooler over her. Sputtering and choking, she finally stopped fighting. Others climbed off of her and led her to her host. She was far from completely calm, but at least she had regained control of herself. She took the wire out of her mane and glared poisoned daggers at Dubious, chest heaving as she breathed. Rainbow Dash, what in reason is us all about? Your playing master her demanded an apple clan drawl. Master Dubious, what is this all about? Twilight demanded at the same time. I will let you know that myself. Dubious huffed, trying to straighten his jacket. The guard Pegasus mare. What question did I ever do to you, young woman? What did you do? What did you do? She bellowed. You ruined my life, is what you did. I ain't got issues. I really don't see Rainbow Dash as the type of mare who would blame anyone for who she is but herself. Even when it came to ruining her life. Her ego's too big. It's kind of like saying Vegeta would actually blame Frieza for turning him into somebody. She lunged down, waiting in fear, shrinking back against the bookcases. The guardsmaster restrained her. What? How did Professor Dubious ruin your life? Twilight said, incredulous. You know my cutie story, Dash growled at her, pushing the guards away. I was the first Pegasus to do the Sonic Rainbow, ever! I should have been famous all over Equestria. I should have been a suit for the Wonderbolts right out of flight school. I would have been if it weren't for him. Dubious's confused expression turned one of shock recognition. You and the filly that? He climbed up. Yeah, that filly, Dash snarled. Okay, what? Twilight asked no one in particular. Dash shouted at her. So I won that race with those three jerks, he said. I pulled off a Sonic Rainbow, right? I was in papers the very next day. How? Why? First off, you were just in a small race with a bunch of kids. Kids tell tall tales all the time. Who's honestly going to start believing in you? Second of all, it was pretty low to the ground and nobody was watching you. You went off the track. This wasn't like where you were saving the Wonderbolts in front of Celestia, an entire tournament, and everyone. You did this away from Pony's eyes. The only evidence was you flying away. So why were you in the papers? Not to mention, if it was just one guy doing this, which I hope it's not, I got more questions. And the very next day, Professor Plyhead here, she's out to hope the professor, starts doing the rounds, telling every pony I faked it. Why would anybody believe one guy? I mean, why? Not to mention, if it was in the papers from everywhere, that means a lot of people had seen it. There's a guess. If anything, he's to be treated like one of those guys that says the moon landing was fake. Every pony turned to look. As far as I of ponies keeping a professor shock. That was him? C.S. Rainbow Jazz. She glared dubious so fiercely the professor could almost swear his eyebrows were smoking. You horrible pony. You know him too, dear. Right, yes, in surprise. How could any pony fake a rainbow? Applejack demanded, baffled. I'm so sorry, Twilight, but now that Applejack and Rainbow Dash are here, they're returning back their whole entire asking the logical questions. It's okay. I was feeling alone anyway. Fluttershy turned to the others. When Rainbow Dash did the Sonic Rainbow, Professor Juvius came out and did an investigation. Then he went to all the newspapers and the radio station and every pony, claiming that there was no way she could have done it. And something else caused the rainbow, she just claimed credit for it. You know, this story is becoming less believable by the second! There's no proof, to be assured. No photographs, no reliable witnesses. There were plenty of eyewitnesses, Fluttershy said, stepping into the Who for emphasis. You just came around and asked all sorts of nasty questions so you got them to contradict themselves. I know, you did it to me too. I repeat, if there were so many eyewitnesses, if there were so many people noticing this, there should be no way he would be credible. Oi! Fluttershy turned back to her friends. Next day, all the papers were writing stories about how it was a hoax, she said unhappily. Poor Rainbow Dazzle's confidence was shattered. No matter how hard she tried, she couldn't repeat the sonic green boom. I was a laughing stock, Dash said. See her back group head down. Every pony thought I was a liar at Blowhard. Flight camp sucked. Flight school's even worse. The only ones who hang with me were Gilda and Fluttershy. No, you hanged with them. We see your confidence and your ego. Stop trying to insult her, reality check. Even the instructors were always giving me horse apples about it. Why do I feel like this is reality check injecting his own life into a scenario where it doesn't work? He had to drop out of flight school because I couldn't take it anymore. She looked over her shoulder, staring at the professor. The only work I could get was a cloud twister. A weather pony? Oh no! Why can't you guys just think that maybe she's doing it because she likes to? I had to transfer all the way from Cloudsteel to Ponyville so I could start all over. All because of you. Dubious took a high tone. I only reported to the facts, he said in a long-suffering tone. Nobody actually saw you do the rain boom. They just attributed it to you because you were flying in the same general area. Hundreds of ponies saw me do it. How? You were close to the ground, away from the track. Again, it's not like a huge stadium. It was a whole bunch of kids. Hundreds of ponies heard a big boom and saw a flash of rainbows in the sky. Dubious said with an air of someone explaining regrettable truth to a fool. I saw it too, but no pony could have possibly seen it regardless. The epicenter was nearly 9 miles from the Sirius pony. Even if a pony had caused it, it would have been too small, too distant to see. Rainbow Dash looked around, teeth grinding. Oh, so I wasn't close enough, was I? Why are you here, Dubious? What was your point? Other than annoying me? Before anyone could move, she grabbed the condescending scholar around his middle and floated to the front door. And Laura and 5 friends ran after her. I know this is supposed to be a moment of awesome, haha, take that! But it feels lifeless. The rest out the front door is the time to see Rainbow Dash make a 90-degree turn straight up to the sky. The professor screamed, stopward in audibility. Ooh, this is gonna be good, Pinkie Pie said. Dubious couldn't recall the last time he screamed so much. That time when he was 6 on the Disney World roller coaster didn't even come close. He finally saw coming in the sky at least a mile above her. So, no plane was close enough to see, huh? The madman said in his ear. Look at you. Now you're gonna see what up and close and personal! With that, they flipped over and began plummeting towards Earth. No, rocketing, accelerating faster and faster by the second. Dubious caught a second wind, largely because it was being blasted up his nostrils and started screaming again. Keep those eyes open, Haghead! Dashed out of his ear, bodily all up over and rushing in the wind. The roaring grew louder. He couldn't even hear himself screaming anymore. His bones rattled with turbulence. His eyes teared up. His vision was blurred. He was blacking out, or was the air overhead starting to turn white? You could see the jagged spires of the Crystal City rushing out to meet them. Then the world exploded. It was loud. A sound so loud it was barely beyond sound. More like a noiseless whump they felt in his very bones. There was a flash of white all around them, laced with radiating needles of color. They were through the center of it and out the other side. The air so clear it was like crystal. Racing towards the ground as high as a lance, its turret was gone. He felt Pegasus' muscles strain, pulling up in an air-pushing 180 turn, racing up towards the sky, towards the ever-expanding ring of rainbow light that stretched across the sky. You could see the rainbow contrail in front of Sarah Wing. Then, and only then, did he hear the boom. They flew in a wide, gentle loop, rainbow light trailing behind them, bleeding off into speed until they finally glided back to the starting point. The front sits the library. Rainbow Dash floated in gently set the professor down, middle of a crowd of onlookers. It's a good roller wheel with the ever-present camera. There! As he said, smugly wiping our swim mane. Is that good enough for you? If it ain't, I could on film for him, Roller said. That was awesome, man. Professor Dubious was a sight to behold. He stood there, splay-legged. Mane and tail were frazzled. His tweed jacket rumpled mess. Even his bow tie was finely askew. His eyes were as round as saucers. His pupils prick-pecks. The only sound that came out of his mouth was a dry, thin "ee." Twice sparkled shine and stepped to the Shattered Scholar. Word to the wise, Professor, she said gently in his ear. Be careful when you depend proof. He just might get it. It was a short while before the professor regained his composure enough for the progress made. A few cups of strong tea, several donuts, and a brief session with a portable steam iron was back in the game. Scholars and the interns were all gathered around a large table set in the middle of the main area of books. Books, scrolls, and writing implements were in abundance. Several magical workstations were up on the table and operating. Illustrated scrolls and images hovering in the air. The head of the table was dominated by an enormous chalkboard, an inkless enormous map of the Crystal Empire. I stood at the head of the table, pointing grasped her massic. Okay, so let's go over what we know already, she says, rolling Real's camera word. We have determined thus far from repeated references to various records that the lost tomb is somewhere in the Ghibli Hills. The tip of her pointer traced a half circle around the edge of the map. Fortunately, the Ghibli Hills is a range that surrounds the Crystal Empire to the north, east, and west. Not exactly a small territory to cover. The objective today is to see what we gathered so far, and see if any of this narrows the search down a little. So, Dwight said, pointing the pointer down with a whack. Any point have anything to report? One of the interns raised a hoof. Well, our group found several references in old ballads to the Southern Hills, he said, consulting the papers in front of him. 3 original references to Diamond Host Odyssey, 2 more in the Ode to the Forefathers, and the Ballad of the Crystal Stair by Crystal Singer, one specifically saying the 7 Ghibli Hills, under which our forefathers sleep. Another pointing further down the table spoke up. Oh, that might correspond with something we found, Tilvis, he said, his horn glowed and a lucid flickered to life over the table. It was a circle with 7 smaller dots inside it, and a circular pattern. Spun so slowly that every point could see it. This is the royal seal of the Christian Empire, or at least it was circa the pre-Sovereign era, he said.
The 7 dots were admittedly 7 gemstones, supposedly representing the 7 districts of the Crystal Empire, 7 noble houses that ruled them, or so the common wisdom went. However, it is not the original seed.
The image changed. The dots changed to gemstones. Then it changed again. Gemstones were no longer a cylindrical pattern.
This is the seed. So 200 years pre-Sombra, it was changed to the newer layout because some of the 7 houses complained it applied to were unequal, but the random pattern is far older.
The illusion changed again. Now the seal is decorated with 7 indentations, shaped like the letter V.
This is the oldest example of the seal, used on a royal document some 1500 years pre-Sombra. Prior to that, the royal seal was merely the king or queen's hoofmarker ink. Note that the pattern is still the same. Every sample between 50 years pre-Sombra and 1500 pre-year Sombra has that layout. This seal shown was used during the reign of Queen Vivid Vision, hence the letter V.
I think we know where this is going. Rainbow Dash sing song.
With the help of Professor Dusty Bones' group.
Here he nodded to a group of ponies on the other side of the table and returned to Jester.
A cross-reference for any stories for Queen Vivi's reign. According to legend, Queen Vivi ascended to the throne after her husband's death and burial into the tomb. At his funeral, she, quote, stood on the hill overlooking that mighty tomb, shielding the hills in her memory.
And I'm guessing that, Twilight began, was the mistrustration. A crystal pony mayor said, she didn't seal the heels in her memory, Twilight finished with her. Put the memory of the heels in her seal. Twilight clapped her host together. It's a map! Congratulations and cheerful exclamations rose up from the table.
Yeah, now we all have to do is figure out which 7 hills it is,
Spike fired. The ladies around the table diminished somewhat. Twilight's eyebrows leveled. True, she sighed. Has anyone in the Crystal Empire done an aerial survey? Rainbow Dash went on board. Hey, I'm your man for the job, she said confidently. Just give me a camera and I. Her answer was to narrow down the area before trying to survey 1,000 square miles of hilly country. Albus said Riley. You're famous, Cube, but we could be taking photos for the clouds that count hills till the next millennium. Dubious cleared his throat. Everybody turned to look at him.
Oh, I think I might have something that might narrow down the search, he said. At least by 2/3 anyway.
He pulled out a tape recorder.
As I told you before, my specialty lies in oil history. Stop laughing! As a little side effort, I've been going about among the show populace, holding interviews, recording any folklore care to recite for me. Stories, poems, songs, traditional sentences, and so forth.
He paused and cut an eyebrow.
For a side note to any crystal ponies in the room, no, your grandmother was wrong. Swallowing a fire opal will not make it bigger.
Several stallions in the room were suddenly looked uncomfortable, while a few mere smirked.
Anyway, I happened to come across a rather elderly man on one of my perambulations as was so kind to recite a song once sung to her by her grandmother. Well, she was a filly, and I think you might want to take note.
He pressed the play button with his magic. Pulled from my home inside a cloud, lost to the dark I drift alone. Now I return beyond the shroud, ever to reign upon my throne, here in my crystal kingdom. I saw beyond the omniverse, far past the places we should see, but for my vision I was cursed, torn from my home and family, lost to my crystal kingdom. Saved from the darkness by my child, locked in a cage of glass and steel, but my true love remains in exile, beckoning me to break the seal into this crystal kingdom. Kept from our children, lovers, friends, subjects as laws we did not make. This is where separation ends, and souls of the lost will come awake. Enter this crystal kingdom. Those aren't the lyrics. I know, Trixie! I just would rather be listening to the Adventure Zone or reading the Adventure Zone fanfic right now! I remember now my summer's love. Now I feel like winter's chills. I watch the sun set behind the crystal spire as I rest upon the 7 hills. Haven't heard that song in years, one of the crystal ponies said, reminiscing. My mother sang it as a lullaby. Didn't know the words, so. Yes! Twice said. The singer would have to be looking west to see the sunset, which means they were sitting east of the crystal spire. The 7 hills are in the eastern Ghibli range. She spun around, drew a circle around the hills east side of the map. Quick! Get out the map of the area and start looking, every pony! Several hours of researching later, they had nothing to show for it. Twilight even resorted to sending data on ultra-high light with an instant camera. Still no results. Everyone was poring over massive photos, old and new. They would have been tearing out their manes of frustration if they had fingers. And a few grids of hills that looked familiar, but none matched the layout shown in the royal seal. Of course, the breakthrough came from Pinkie Pie. This would be a lot easier if it wasn't backwards and upside down. Seemed almost staring with pumped-out eyes at a handful of aerial photos. Every pony froze. What did you say, darling? Rarity asked sensitively. I said it would be a lot easier if it wasn't backwards and upside down. Piggy said, fine. Where did you get that from? Twilight said, baffled. Well, that's silly. It's a royal seal, right? Like a rubber stamp for fancy ponies. Look. She sent to the library to check out the ads and grabbed a rubber seal. She sent it over to Twilight. See, this is an Albert D stamp. But look, it's backwards. She pointed with her hoof on the other side. This is a good thing because no pony would know what Irodoro means. Pinky, I'm sure Professor Dusty Bones put the image over before he... Twilight had to pause because the pony in question was calmly thumping his forehead against the table. Backwards! He groaned and banged his head again. Of course! Twilight face of, okay, but upside down. Well, yeah, Pinky said. She pulled out a picture of a crystal pony in royal garb. See? She's wearing the seal as a pendant around her neck. And... Twilight must have heard to continue. Of course! Rarity said suddenly, her face lighting up. She wore it as a memento, so she would remember her husband whenever she looked at it. But the poem, that implies like it's a spontaneous romantic gesture. She must have been wearing it around her neck. And when she held it up to engrave it, she may have motioned as a lifting a pendant off her own chest, holding it up in her hoof. She was holding it upside down! Elzak said, grinning. Well, that told me all. Good eye, Rarity! You too, Planky. Twilight shook her head. Of course! She said, pointing at the still rotating magical illusion. Those aren't little V's. They're upside-down hills. Professor, could you flip that image around? Dusty Bones eagerly complied. Wait, somebody said. I seen those map of hills somewhere here. Where's that one map? The one with the yellow. There was a great deal of frantic shuffling around scrolls of paper. Here! A survey map slid down on the table. My God, Holmes, this is brilliant. Every pony, even Professor Dubious, leaned in breathlessly. Wordlessly, Twilight levitated a pencil drew a circle around a tiny, unassuming group of hills. Dusty Bones, straight illusory sealed down, floated over the map. It was a perfect match. We found it! Twilight whispered. The whisper spread through the group. Twilight repeated herself. We found it! We found the lost tomb of the founders! A deafening cheer went up. Next instant, every pony in the room was bouncing like Pinkie Pie, a double espresso. You know, this makes for a pretty good quest, guys. I mean, sure, it's got nothing to do with Nyx. It doesn't have her bonding with her family. It has nothing to do with her actually learning anything. And so far, the story reads more like a epic adventure of something else that was interrupting my story. But you know what? If we keep this up, this might make for a rollicking good adventure story. Filled with traps, dungeons, and who knows, maybe an ancient magic quest. I really am thinking that this fic is starting to look up. Garble signaled for a halt. And then we have this asshole! The six-headed dragons rumbled to a stop near one of the last mountains in the range. What's up, Garble? Mark Shorter's growl, his voice down in a shaking rumble. Garble looked back, grinning. Done on me. We're going to need a little help picking up all those jewels, gold and stuff, he rolled back. And keeping a pulse and sorting all the other crap once you got it. So, Grendel said, we make the other ponies do that. Garble sniffed. Too much trouble, he said. They're a bunch of whiny pansies anyway. Shut up! I know what I mean. Shut up, Orgle! I'm just saying. Ponies. You too, right, Sean? I get it. The ponies are actually badasses. They have superior magic, and a team of six could probably kill us, especially if they were all adventurers. Because while the real and in canon Chroma Conclave are all CR20s, all we are a bunch of no good pansy waste CR2 dragons. I get it. All right, I got it. I understand. I'm like the most worthless thing in this fic. I'm pathetic. I get it. The only thing that would make this stupider is if we suddenly tried to use diamond dogs. Rawr! Smoke and terrifying noise poured down in the hall. Screams and yells of terror could be heard emanating from the surrounding halls. It's suddenly terrifying. Screaming canine shapes erupted from several of them. Really, we're teaming up with the diamond dogs? Oh, for Pete's sake! Okay, I'm done with this chapter. Anybody want to join me for a booze?